Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report. And coming up on today's show, we're going to get into the Raiders schedule news. For those that do not know, we have right now at least one league game for the Silver and Black. I'll tell you who that is, who we're going to be going up against, and when that's going to be going down. And then my dream schedule for the Las Vegas Raiders. And this is a show that I've never really done before, but I've seen other people kind of like throw their ideas in. And if this is the schedule that comes out for the Silver and Black, I think it would be a dream come true for Antonio Pierce and Tom Telesco. For those that do not know, the NFL schedule will release tomorrow by May 15th, 2024 at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So I'm going to have the Raiders schedule before that. It's another reason to hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications. We will get the schedule here at Chat Sports before it is released to the NFL world out there. So all I'm trying to tell you is this. If you want to know what the Raiders schedule is, we're going to provide that for you guys tomorrow. Chugs and I will make a video around it. I just thought that this would be a fun little segment to do of if I could create my own Raiders schedule, when would I do it? And there's a lot of strategery, shout out to you-know-who, a lot of strategery of why I'm deciding to put the Raiders in certain situations that I am. So if you don't know, the Raiders' home opponents this upcoming season, obviously it's the teams out of the AFC West. And then you also got the Cleveland Browns, the Atlanta Falcons, Carolina Panthers, Pittsburgh Steelers, Jacksonville Jaguars. The Raiders have 8 home games. They have 9 away games. However, some people might say, well, Mitch, they got 2 games this season in Los Angeles on the road. And let's face it, anytime the Silver and Black travel to SoFi Stadium, that's basically a home game. So you got the Rams, you got the Chargers, both in those games. On top of that, Cincinnati Bengals, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Baltimore Ravens, Saints, Dolphins are all the teams that we go up against on the road. So the way that I'm going to do this is obviously I'm going to start at week 1, and I'm going to make my way through the entire schedule, just outlining when I'm hoping that the Raiders go up against certain teams. Now, the Chiefs have had a lot of leaks already as it stands. I mean, there's been like 3 or 4 games for Kansas City that have been leaked. Also, I've seen people say that, oh man, the Raiders, they're getting the hardest schedule. The NFL's screwing them. Here's the thing. When you go up against the Super Bowl champs twice a year, it's going to make your schedule a little bit more difficult. It is the toughest amongst AFC West teams, but it is also one of the tougher divisions. They are, 9th overall? What'd you say? They also finished 2nd in the AFC West, so it's just like a little bit more of a tougher division. Here's the other part of it, though. With the amount of quarterback injuries that there were last season, strength of schedule, I'm not really paying attention to it, but the Raiders' schedule this upcoming season, it is going to be a daunting one. A lot of tough teams there. My question, though, is who do you want the Silver and Black to play in week 1? I know that there were a lot of people out there hoping that we went up against Kansas City for the home opener. Really happy that we're not. I got a wedding, and I'm happy that I'm going to be able to go to that wedding. On top of that, though, I wanted the Raiders to go up against a team that maybe the hype isn't as crazy around, solely because, it's not a divisional rival game. So for me, the team that I want the Raiders to go up against in week 1 is the Carolina Panthers, and I want a home game. I want the Raiders to be at home that first game. I think getting Antonio Pierce started off on the right foot is the right way to do it. Yes, the Raiders have recently played Carolina. I want to say it was back in 2020 when they played them in week 1 up against Bryce Young. Should be an easy game. Not an easy game. No game in the NFL is easy. But it's a game where I'm confident the Raiders can get off on that right foot and get a win underneath their belt. Let's go to week 2 here up against the Los Angeles Rams. And yes, it is a road game. However, like I mentioned earlier, if you're going up against any team in Los Angeles, especially in SoFi, that's going to be a home game there. Matthew Stafford, tough football game, which then brings me to week 3 at home against the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs open up their schedule week 1 against the Baltimore Ravens at home. Then week 2 at home against the Cincinnati Bengals. You got Ravens, Bengals. I actually think that the Raiders might be a little bit of an afterthought there. So because of that, maybe they get beat up those first 2 weeks. It's when I want to play Kansas City. Week 4, we're going to be at home against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So right off the bat, a lot of home games to get this season started. I really think it is important for us to be able to build that confidence around Gardner Minshew, around Aiden O'Connell, around Antonio Pierce to get us going in the right step forward, because we got to start the year strong. If we start the year bad, I'm worried that it could spiral out of control where out of these games here, I'm saying at worst we're going 2-2. Now, before I get into the remainder of my dream Raiders schedule, I do want to give a shout out to today's sponsor, Prize Picks. And during the NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, I've been using Prize Picks a whole bunch. The Raiders Report is made possible by Prize Picks, and they got specials for new and returning users alike. All you got to do is just go to prizepicks.com/CLNS, and that code's going to be available to you down in the comments and down in the description of today's show. Prize Picks is really simple to play. I can make my picks and submit my entry in less than 60 seconds. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types will make Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. So a lot of times when I talk about Prize Picks, I give you guys my picks. Well, you know what? Let's roll with Jeremy Chugs here. So he went with Dak Prescott more on the passing yards. Xavier Worthy, FKC, less, which I love that one. Brock Bowers, his numbers actually went down a little bit. It used to be at 5.5 receiving touchdowns. Now it's at 4.5, so I love that value there. Give me the more. Josh Jacobs, I know he's a great running back, but like 7.5 rushing touchdowns on Green Bay's offense. Give me the less there. And then Chris Jones, less than 11.75 sacks. If you really like the picks that Chugs made and you want to use them, again, use code CLNS at prizepicks.com/CLNS. Prize Picks is simple. You just pick more or less. If you haven't gotten that by now, then you just don't listen to Jeremy or I. Again, if you haven't already gotten started, you're going to have a lot of fun with them. And even if it's around games that, quite frankly, you don't really care about, I'm telling you right now, the New York Knicks, their playoffs have been a lot of fun for me. I've been going with points with Jalen Brunson. He's been putting up a bunch of shots, whether it's the NBA, NHL, no matter what it is. Prize Picks is the #1 spot for you guys to go to. You're going to have a lot of fun. Hopefully put some money in your pocket. Let's go to week 5 here. I'm going to be going up against the Los Angeles Chargers, Jim Harbaugh, Justin Herbert. Another game that I do think that this silver and black team can absolutely win. Let's go to week 6. This is going to be on the road against Tampa Bay, the Baker Mayfield show. And the way that I really thought about this schedule was, I said, okay, I'm going to try to go with a game. Like the Bucs, yes, they made the playoffs last year, but it's a game on the schedule where when I look at it, I kind of take a sigh of relief, and I try to take a sigh of relief before divisional games, even if it is up against the Denver Broncos team, which the Broncos, the last time that they beat the Las Vegas Raiders, you got to go all the way back to December 29th, 2019. We're going to win both games against Denver yet again. Let's now go to week 8. This is a really tough game on the road against the Cincinnati Bengals, and the reason why that I put Cincinnati here week 8 is solely because I want the Raiders every year to get a bye week in the middle of the season. Like, to me, that's when it's at its absolute peak. It's when it's at its absolute best. And on top of that, the NFL trade deadline this year got pushed back a week. So now it's going to be November 5th, which is kind of like right on point right here, where if you can't have a positive record after these 8 games, you're not going to be competing for anything serious anyway. So because of that, the Raiders can make a decision. Are we a team that's going to trade away our assets or trade for some assets? Before I get into the back half of this schedule, I do got to give a shout-out to our 2024 Bang MVP so far. Shout out to Justin Abjin, Lord Cameron Abbott, David Zahn, Ira Jackson, and right now the leader in May, which it is a tie between Noah Santana and Ira. Also Lost in Tynes, 93 Nabman are right in there. I can't even express how much you guys make this show fun, what you do for the nation, and I know that you guys do everything that you do for the nation. So from the bottom of my heart, Chugs' heart, I hope that you guys know deep down that you make this show a lot of fun, and keep on banging here with the silver and black. So week 9 here, I got the bye week coming in. Good time to heal up a little bit. NFL trade deadline, and then that also gives you that extra week to be able to prepare to go on the road up against the Los Angeles Chargers. And again, I expect the Raiders to be the better team against Los Angeles. However, though, when you got Justin Herbert and you got a first-time head coach in Jim Harbaugh, Harbaugh is going to make me nervous. He's one of the best in the biz, and I want that extra week to be able to prep for him. So now what I want to know is down below is which game are you looking forward to the most? And the game outside of like the Kansas Cities, the Denver, the Chargers, there is one game on our schedule that I am the most excited about, and it's not close. Who? The New Orleans Saints and Derek Carr. Let's go to week 11 now. We're going to be going up against the Atlanta Falcons, and the reason why I put Atlanta here is not really so much to do with the Raiders, but more to do with Atlanta. I think that Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback. I think Atlanta is a good football team. but neither of them are great. And if Cousins is struggling, and even if he's like, if at this point in the year the Falcons are maybe not in first place of their division, there's going to be a lot of pressure on Kirk. And who knows, we might even get a rookie at Michael Penix Jr. Let's go to Week 12 at Miami. The Raiders played Miami last season at this kind of point in the season. I want a little bit of a revenge game. I thought that the offense played really bad last season. And on top of that, at this point of the year, injuries start to pile up, and Miami has been a team that's had a lot of injuries, so I think that we can take advantage of that. Week 13, let's go up against the Cleveland Browns here. And I don't really have a specific reason of why I'd want to go up against Cleveland at this point, other besides Deshaun Watson has struggled to stay healthy. Let's now go to Week 14 at Kansas City. And I was really trying to figure out a way to play the Chiefs again, like right around Christmas time. But I thought the way that this schedule is going to finish, it's going to be an absolute gauntlet. And I do think that if I'm the Raiders, I kind of want that gauntlet of a season near the end to just prove to myself, all right, hey, we can beat any freaking football team going into the playoffs. So we got Week 14 on the road at Kansas City, but historically, when I say historically, the last few seasons, the Raiders have done a much better job in Kansas City than they have in Las Vegas. Week 15 on the road at Baltimore. That's going to be another very tough game. But I wanted to go with some really tough football games. That way the final three does get a little bit easier here for the Silver and Black. Coming in here at Week 16 for Antonio Pierce and company, which I believe Week 16 is the Christmas game. This is going to be Gardner Minshew up against Trevor Lawrence. So originally, I'll be real with y'all, I was hoping that the Raiders were thinking about potentially playing Jacksonville in Week 1. The only game at the time that I am making this video that is officially official, Week 16, Raiders are playing the Jacksonville Jaguars, so you can already put that one on your calendar. You can circle it if you're trying to go to that game. Let's now go to Week 17 at Denver. So again, because I started this season with so many home games, lots and lots of road games to kind of finish this one out. And then to just put a bow on this season, I figured what better way to put a bow on this season than with Derek Carr and the New Orleans Saints. I'll admit, Jeremy makes a good point where this game is only important because of DC. And there is a part of me that wonders, could the Saints bench Derek Carr? He got benched last season. There were times where, like, the Spencer Rattler talk now is already starting to really pick up. But could you imagine the game that decides whether the Saints or the Raiders get in the playoffs is Week 18 against New Orleans? Sign me up for that every single day of the week. Put that into my veins. That sounds like a hell of a season. So now that we've gone through every single game here for the Raiders, home and away opponents, what do you think their schedule record's going to be? Like, how many games will the Silver and Black win this season? The number that I keep going with is I'm going to be between 9 to 10 wins. And until I actually see the official Raiders schedule based on when their bye week is, which teams are they playing, my projection is I'm going to be right around 9 to 10 wins. If the Raiders can win 8 games last season with the worst quarterback play in the league and Josh McDaniels, somebody tell me why we're not going to be at least an 8-win team. If you're worse than 8 wins, Antonio Pierce and Telesco got a lot of answers and a lot of questions that need answering. So again, the NFL schedule will be released tomorrow, May 15th. The NFL says it's going to be at 8 p.m. I'm just telling you, here at Chat Sports, here at the Raiders Report, we will have the schedule before that. So make sure you're subscribed, because as soon as I get the entirety of the Raiders 17-game schedule, I'll make a video on it. We'll push it out. If for whatever reason we don't have all the games by 8 p.m. Eastern time, there is a chance that Chugs and I go live. Again, it's still TBD. A lot of things are up in the air with the schedule. All I need you to know is we will know the Raiders schedule by tomorrow, and we'll be breaking it down here on the Raiders Report.